I'm Amy. Lots of you have met me, and I've got with me here today Kirk, who will be bringing us our sermon shortly. But Kirk, why don't you start by just telling us a little about who you are and your role here at SMBC?
Sure. I'm Kirk Paxton, married to Lisa. I've got 2 adult sons. You might know one of them, Jera. And my role here for decades was teaching Old Testament. But of late, I'm shifting sidewards into practical theology a bit more, preaching, formation, pastoral care, disability, those sorts of things.
Fantastic. A very diverse role. Now, you have actually been at SMBC for a very long time, Kirk, about 20 years, is it?
Probably. Actually, someone said to me yesterday 25.
Wow. Well, I think you should go with 25. That sounds even better. Right. But many of us wouldn't have seen you for the last couple of years, whether we're new to the college. You've been quite absent. Can you tell us what the last few years has brought for you?
Yes. So I had a thing called long COVID, whatever that is exactly. For me, for 2 years, I had terrible headaches, brain fog. I couldn't read, I couldn't think, and fatigue. So mostly I was sleeping 16 hours a day.
That sounds very difficult. Obviously, could you tell us about what it looked like to have some of those very low moments in the last few years, how you managed that and what it looked like for you?
Mm-hmm. I think my sort of theoretical background in disability studies and my lived experience up till now in my life sort of in a way meant I wasn't taken by surprise by something like this happening. In some ways, it sort of made perfect sense that vulnerable human beings get sick and sometimes can't do things. So at some level, it wasn't a low time. I began to feel low, I think, in January this year when a few medical friends were starting to say to me, you realise this might be it. This might be as good as you're going to get now for the rest of your life. I was just beginning to grieve that, and then I started to get better. So that was there was a mercy in that. Yeah.
Praise God. We've been a community that's been praying for you for many years, so that's a big answer to prayer. What did it look like for you to commune with God when you needed to sleep 16 hours a day?
Yeah. It was very revealing to me just how much I nurture my walk with God through language. Surprise, surprise, being an evangelical. But so I was robbed of reading, and when I could get to church, I'd sit there and I would think, I can't make any sense of this sermon. I can't concentrate on it. I can't follow it. And if you're not giving me clear application, I have no capacity to do the inferential thinking myself to see that this has got any relevance to my life. So, and I would sort of laugh inside thinking, yeah, I'm the director for the School of Preaching, for the Centre for Preaching, and I can't follow this at all. So that was really interesting. But again, kind of drawing on my background in disability theology, I thought that's okay. I won't believe with my cognition at this point in time because my cognition is very poor, but I can believe with my body. And so the weeks when I could, I'd physically get myself to church, even if it meant lying on the floor. Kind of just to say to myself and to everyone, I am part of this community. I can't follow all the chitter-chat that you're all doing. In fact, someone was talking to me one night after church and I said, can you just slow right down because I cannot follow what you're saying. Anyway, I can't follow all the words, but I can sit here or I can sit in my bed at home and zoom in just to say, yes, I stand with this community. Or I lie down with this community. And of course, this very kind community would turn up through the week at our house and mow the grass or move mulch or turn up with a meal or give us money. And I would think, wow, this community is alive and I'm part of it, yeah.
Absolutely. That is incredibly encouraging. And we are so glad that you are back with the SMBC community, even though you were with us. Now tell us how you're feeling about being back.
Well, interesting. When Amy and I were chatting about this last week, I was really anxious. And I think I realised when I was sick, I felt like my work for the day was to try to do the Wordle. And then I would say to Lisa at the end of the day, I got it. And that was my work. And then maybe to watch one episode of the Clone Wars, because I could follow that. That was my language and cognition.
Is that a comment on the Clone Wars, or is that a comment on you?
And I'd say to Lisa, I think Wordle is meant to be just this little 2-minute thing you do while you're waiting for the train. But at the moment, it's my day's work. And then I've come back here and my goodness, you've got to do something at 9 o'clock and then at 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock. So I've been getting quite stressed about, oh my goodness, how many things are you meant to be able to fit in a day? But it was only sort of yesterday that I don't know, I sat down with a diary and a calendar and blah, blah, blah. And I began to realize it's okay. I don't have to hold all this in my head, and you can just do the thing before you and then the next thing and then that. So kind of just basic skills of life management and time management that I've used all my life had sort of evaporated, I think. And I was getting Derek picked up that I was having a few conversations with him where I was always using the words today and tomorrow wrongly because I wasn't grounded in actually even what day it was. So, yeah. Anyway, yesterday I got it right.
Well, we are so glad to have you back. And Kirk, you're just in a slightly tricky position because now, especially, everyone knows you, but you're coming back and you don't really know anyone or many people. How can we as a community love and support you as you try to re-enter and return, not just with all the responsibilities and your calendar and your 9 and 10 and 11 and 12 o'clock appointments, but in terms of just being a member, an active member of our community here?
So I think I'm introverted by personality type. So morning tea and lunch are actually a bit scary for me, even though I've been here forever. So come up and say hello and tell me your story, because you know my story a bit. I want to hear yours. It's probably more interesting. So that would be good.
Thanks, Kirk. We look forward to having more conversations with you. But